Hello and welcome to this episode of the Work in Progress podcast. I am Colleta Macharia, your host, and I am a life coach and author of the book, How to Design Your Career Game Plan. Now, a couple of years ago, I visited a glassmaking factory, and I had the pleasure of watching this expert as he made a beautiful bowl out of crushed glass. Wow. Part of the process involved the expert putting the work in progress, the item that he was fabricating, on one end of a pole and then putting it into the fire and then, alternately blowing into it like you would blow air into a balloon and then molding it a little bit and then putting it back into the fire and repeating the process. And I was curious and fascinated by all what this guy was doing. And I asked him why he kept putting the item back into the fire and out. And this is what he told me. When the glass begins to cool, I have to heat it up so that I can work with it. The heat makes it pliable. When it's cold, I cannot work with it because I cannot shape it. And so by the time he was done with this whole process, he had transformed this item into a beautiful blue bowl. And when he was done, he put it on a cooling table. And then after that, it would be transferred to the display unit where customers would come and buy it. And as I thought about this process, one statement refused to leave my mind. And this is when he said, when it's cold, I can't work with it. I need to put it back to the fire to make it more pliable. And I went thinking about that process, the heating process. And at this point, I want to ask you, have you ever experienced heat as a work in progress, as somebody who's on a journey, doing stuff, making an impact wherever you are, living? Have you ever experienced heat? And what form did it take? For some people, the heat is felt in the course of their work, perhaps because of decisions and choices that they need to make, taking a stand for what they believe in. And for some people, the heat comes way early, even at the point of choosing or deciding what kind of work or vocation or career to pursue. Because perhaps they're thinking, the kind of work that I feel called to doesn't seem very glamorous. Not many will understand it. Many will question my choice. And so that can be a hit moment for some people. In the workplace, socially, sometimes we find ourselves confronted by ethical dilemmas. And when you think about the era that we are living in right now, with artificial intelligence, some ethical questions come to mind, boundaries, data protection, privacy, and, what organizations or people do with information that they collect from others. And all these are, they can present some type of dilemma or other in our everyday dealings. In the last episode, I talked about the winning trifecta of a healthy body, a strong spirit, and a prospering soul. And the truth is that when we are facing situations that can be described as heat experiences, we do need to have this trifecta, because it is that inner strength that will help us stand even when we are being challenged. Working towards this success trifecta entails embracing values and embracing beliefs, and yet it does not mean having a list of do's and don'ts or even religious rhetoric. The Apostle Paul went through a major heat experience that saw him get transformed and quit his activities of persecuting Christians and embraced a life of being an apostle and a teacher. And even in his calling, in his work as an apostle, he continued to face certain heat experiences including going to prison. And here is what he wrote to Timothy in one of his letters, and Timothy was his mentee. This is what Paul wrote. And of this gospel, I was appointed a herald and an apostle and a teacher. That is why I am suffering as I am. Yet, this is no cause for shame, because I know whom I have believed, and I am convinced that he is able to guard what I have entrusted to him until that day. And that's in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 11 and 12. Such knowledge can only come from a spirit that is alive and aligned with God. Indeed, as Jim Elliot, who was an American missionary in South America, said, "He is no fool who gives up what he can't keep to gain what he can't lose." Have a beautiful week, keep shining, stay strong, and see you on the next episode. The Work in Progress podcast is brought to you by Cogent Afrique. Visit www.cogentafrique.com to check out learning and development opportunities for you, your team, organization, and family.